Good evening, sports family, right? Especially my journalists and my sports writers and my sportscasters. All right, I want to introduce you guys to the Breakroom Breakdown Sports Podcast, where we create sports content for all fans, right? Including the casual fan, right? So once again, I'm your host, Kenneth Tiberius Clark. Now, I guess we're halfway through the year. We're going into June. May's over, right? So we're halfway through our 2022 takeover. I've had a slew of great guests for you guys, but I feel like I keep jumping and we keep diving deeper down a rabbit hole. We could always stay surface level and just go over, regular sports, football, baseball, right, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, all that stuff, right? But I feel like there's so many different aspects to sports that it would be a mortal sin to not explore them all. So last time we talked about sports betting, right? This time, I wanted to dive a little bit into sports journalism, and I was able to meet a very great gentleman. All right, a smart young man, right? Because he's younger than I am, but man, you couldn't tell. You'll see when we talk. He's so mature. All right, very wise, but beyond his years. Mr. Ronald Harrod Jr. Not only is he a journalist, right, in the making, just graduated with his master's, but he also has his own podcast, the M&R Sports Podcast, and that's pretty damn good as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get him in here, and we gotta ask him some questions, man. We gotta have him. He has to break this process down for us. Let's get him in here. Ron, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me on, for sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing good.
You're doing good, right? So, well, first of all, how's the day going so far?
Good. It's been I'm home, so I'm from DC. I'm in
Uh-huh.
back in DC now, so it's been different not being in New York.
Uh-huh.
Just really just waiting to hear back from some places. I've really just been home, going and stuff like that. It's been a little different, but it's cool.
So the anticipation's killing you.
Dying. So I've been trying to drink my little tea and stay calm, so it's been cool.
Okay. So you just obviously you just graduated from Columbia University.
Yeah, yep, Columbia University, New York City.
All right. And I'm assuming they have a pretty prestigious journalism program.
Yeah, very prestigious. I went there. It was when I looked it up. It was the number one program in the world for journalism. I wanted to go, even though a lot of people in my program don't do sports. I wanted to go just to learn the basics, writing, video, audio. I think I did a good job there. One thing I can say, I think I learned a lot. If I told myself in August, yeah, it's gonna be worth it because you learn so much. So,
well, the cool thing is when we talk about, obviously I say sports, but journalism is so broad. And I think for us as sports guys, I mean, we do this for fun, right? we do this to not get paid for it, this, that, and the third. So, but you learning journalism, that's an actual trade, and you could use it obviously in so many different facets of media.
Yeah, journalism is cool. It's something that they definitely, I can say, didn't necessarily mention to us in high school, even my early college years. I didn't know it was a real job. I didn't know you really could go to school for it. I didn't know how Stephen A. Smith got to be Stephen A. Smith. They just don't tell you this type of stuff. I don't know why. I really could not say.
So are you trying to tell me that Stephen A. Smith didn't just graduate high school and just go to work ESPN? Oh, there wasn't a process?
There was a long process, long.
Wow.
Stephen A. Smith was to work for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He got famous from covering Allen Iverson. That's how he got his name. He worked for a newspaper at that. One of the most famous newspapers on the East Coast was the Inquirer, which is in Philadelphia. And he worked his way up. Then he went to ESPN, got fired by ESPN, by the way. Then they hired him again. So people don't even know that Stephen A. Smith was fired by ESPN at one point. ESPN literally fired this man. So never, never burn bridges.
You guys, this is some. Man, this is some top secret news. Here I am thinking these guys that are on TV that they just teleported there. There was no process, no adversity. But no, that's definitely good to learn. So
everyone has their own grind for sure. Everyone has their own grind.
Yeah, everyone has their own grind, their own journey. So before we start, I have to ask, where are you waiting to hear a word from? If you can just give me just one.
Well, it's this it's a couple of, most of them are on TV. So they're owned by like different news stations, Fox, NBCs, and stuff like that. And there's one written one, the Sporting News, that I'm hoping, that's my one. I'm definitely hoping to hit that. They talk a lot of different people, and definitely looking forward to hearing from them to see, you know, if that goes through. And if not, I mean, again, there's a lot of TV opportunities too. I'm really just weighing those
your options,
but it's tough because like with TV, the difference between like TV and say a regular job is that you're stuck there for 2 years. Like you have to sign a 2-year contract. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, so it's a non. Yeah, you're there.
Like you're there. Okay. They own your name, image, and likeness. Most of them told me I could keep the podcast, but it's like certain restrictions. Like I can't talk about anything in like their DMA, which is like the surrounding area. So like it's a lot. Contracts are really different. Like it's just crazy. Like you gotta move like a crazy place like Michigan. Not that Michigan's crazy, but like
my favorite place, Timbuktu. You got to move to Timbuktu.
Yeah, like you move to those places and work your way up every 2 years to a new place. It's a job you have to move a lot. So it's definitely again something I also didn't even know before going to Columbia that was kind of like the pathway. But it is what it is. Like I'm getting over
it. He said I'm here for it, right?
Yeah, at this point I'm already stuck. Like
so okay. So let's talk about, you know, like I said, obviously you're graduating now. You know, you got the podcast, which is doing good and growing. Talk to us about your journey thus far. Like, how did you get to what? Because you just obviously shed a little bit of light on it. Where did you just wake up and like you had an epiphany? You was like, I got it. I'm going to be a journalist. Like, how did you get? How'd you get to this point?
Well, my friends always called me a know-it-all my whole life. They've been telling me to start a podcast for the longest time. So, but then my junior year, I said, you know, I'm gonna do the sport podcast thing. Had no idea what it was. Didn't listen to anybody. Just said, I just know. Like, I mean, I somewhat thought I knew what it was. I posted on my Snapchat. My co-host Malcolm, who I know only because he's two of my friends' roommate. Always we never hung out one time. He called me like, hey, I'm trying to start a sports podcast too. There's a studio at my undergrad, Radford University in Virginia. And like he knew he took a class and he knows a teacher that works it. We could easily do the podcast there. So then we had went like a week or two afterwards. We met the teacher. He showed us like how it worked. And then 2 days later, we went into the studio.
Into
our first episode, which was like way too long. We had like 10 topics. I don't know who we thought we were. Wow. We were just talking so much. That was like legit, like in the studio on the camera. Like that's how we started in our show in person. We only went on Zoom because of like COVID. And we just had to stay on Zoom. Literally, there was no streaming the podcast at one point. Like it was all in person live. So yeah, wow. So we got a good feel for it. And ever since then, to be honest, the podcast introduced me to journalism.
Wow.
I mean, I was not a journalism major in college, in undergrad. I was sport administration. So I was like, it was a combination of business, like sports sociology, all that type of stuff, communications. So really, like around the same time I got the podcast, I was taking like a news writing class. It just happened to all kind of.
It just fell in place.
Yeah, it all just kind of fell in place like that. I knew my teacher, he was an anchor. He took a liking to me. He told me I could do this if I really wanted to. Like he could see this as a job for me. I was like, all right. I just kept working at it, And I like sports is something that like I was already passionate about. Like something I engulfed myself in. But then I started doing a podcast and started trying to be a journalist. I like start like really like locking in, like taking notes and really watching the game, not no crazy narrative, don't stop watching First Take, that type of stuff. Like you gotta stay. I have all my own takes. Like I don't steal people's takes for the most part.
Yeah. Like, thank you. Hey, that's good, man. I can't stand those people.
So that's when you know you make it, when people care about your opinion to that extent. That's when I know. At least that's when I know I probably have made it to where the level I want to go.
That's good. Okay, so you weren't initially interested in journalism, but your love of sports, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm guessing is that maybe you didn't know exactly what you wanted to do, but you know you wanted it to be sports related in the beginning, and then that just led you. Obviously, we got to the podcast, but that ultimately led you to falling in love and with journalism as a whole.
Yeah, literally. I actually interned with the Washington Redskins then. They are now the Washington Commanders on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
Think I did
What was
well.
it?
I was at training camp, OTAs in the building. I was doing everything. Just didn't like it. Like, didn't like the business and operations. That wasn't
Look,
me.
look, did you meet Dan Snyder?
Did not. I mean, I
Oh
saw him
wow,
far, but like
you
I never
saw him.
like, talked to him. I met like I think who was there? Bruce Allen at the time. Says a lot. Like whoever was the GM at the time, definitely saw him. I saw all the people. So I was on the field with the players a lot of the time. I just
You
didn't
saw,
like.
you
I
saw
just,
Dwayne, R.I.P.
yeah, no, yeah. I was the person on the phone selling people tickets. Like, yeah, Dwayne Haskins, he's the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else would they draft that year? It was Montez Sweat. Like, man, he ran a 4.3 at this many. Like, I'm really on the guy on the phone trying to sell you to come to this stadium that is not what it's meant out to be entertaining. Which I knew because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm lying every time, by the way. Like,
so
like,
you
yeah,
so basically you didn't like the business side because you feel like a used car salesman?
yeah. It's kind of like that. Sales is kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
I was doing sales and I was doing Excel. I was learning a lot there. But I said, this is not what I want to do. So I was kind of like, at first I was like, all right, you might just have to do this. Because at one point I wanted to be a GM. Now I really don't know why.
Oh, it's a different bit. Yeah.
I don't even like that type of stuff. So I don't even, I just like 2K. Like that was it.
You're a 2K You're a 2K GM, right?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with staying there. Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to scout people. I want to be in Lithuania looking for the next Luca. Like I'm not doing that. Like that's not me. So I don't even know how. And luckily, again, just wanted to do something in sports. Found sports like reporter. Still really didn't know until this year though, like what exactly that entailed. So it's like it was a long journey because I don't know anyone that does what I do. Well, no, that's not true. I know a lot of people that do what I do, but like before doing it, I didn't know anyone. Like none of my friends do this. None of my friends' friends. I have family. None of my families. None of my family friends. Like this is like almost like an underground job. Like you don't know. No one knows anyone that actually does this for a living. So it's like it was hard to meet.
You felt like a unicorn.
Yeah, for sure. Which is crazy because it's like this hunt, man. It's so many journalists when you get in it, you meet so many people. Like I have 5 mentors. Like
That's good.
it's so easy. Like it's easy to meet people, but like you have to get in there. You just have to get in there, literally.
Hey, look, you don't know any other journalists probably where you grew up, but you probably know a bunch of rappers. Everybody rapping.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, there's 2 cousins to do that.
everybody got a mixtape out now. That's funny.
For sure.
Oh Lord. But okay, no, and that's good. And you say you didn't like sales. I'm a firm believer. Have a guy that I worked in sales in the past. I think you just need to do it. You need to get it over with.
Yeah. You
have to experience it because you need the eat what you kill feeling mentality. You need that just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So good thing you got to experience that. But obviously that was your journey. My question for you is what advice would you have for people? Because now you've graduated, you got your master's now.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy road
No.
at all, right? Because you were managing school and the podcast and life.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for the young, I'll speak to all, but the young Black high school student, somebody that wants to get into a journalism program? What advice would you have for them? The ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. What are the requirements? Things of that nature.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's in some ways similar to a lot of other jobs. You just like engulf yourself in the craft. Like I try to read every morning. I try to read every night, like the sport articles, the Athletic, Bleacher Report, the Score, Sporting News. Like I try to read every morning, every night, especially at night because then you fall asleep on what you read. It's always helpful. So that's I think one thing that anyone can do, even if you don't want to be a journalist, because also you're also by reading it, you're learning like what like language they use, how they writing stuff. It's always easier like that. Then I watch and I listen to a lot of different types of people, different like angles. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts from Bill Simmons to a lot of the Ringer stuff. I listen to Locked On Network stuff. Like I listen to so many different types of podcasts and watch so many different types of people. So I just engulf myself in knowledge. Then I would say if you want to like start doing your own thing, when I watch the game, I would like watch it, maybe like take notes on my phone. Sometimes immediately after the game, I write down what is my take from the game, and I just say it in 10 seconds. to see if I could do it. Like for 10 to 20 seconds, I'd be like, all right, just talk. What the heck did you see? If someone's dumb in front of you, they didn't go to the game, what would you tell them? So I do stuff like that. Sometimes like I feel like I took a writing test for a job.
Okay.
That's very common in journalism. Literally, they asked me, I didn't even know what the test was. One of the first things was basically just like write about a relevant sports story that happened in the last 48 hours. If you didn't watch sports for 48 hours, what you gonna lie? Like you only have 2 hours to complete the whole test. That's only part. Like,
hey look. Luka and the Mavericks are up on the Warriors.
Like literally, like, you gotta say it's like probably like I don't know, 300 words to 600 words, something like that. I don't know what test they'll give you, but it can be something like that. You have to be able to say it, maybe quote somebody, maybe add like some, like, be creative. Like, cause everybody else is taking the same test, you got to say something different. So you definitely, again, you got to watch the sport. So you have to find your niche too. Like I wouldn't, like some people watch all sport. I watch like 2 or 3. Like it's not. Yeah. Like it's hard to be like an expert in multiple things. You kind of got to get an expert in like 1 or 2 to 3 areas. I try to do baseball. It's tough. It's a lot of teams, a lot of games. It's hard to watch. I do try. That's my sport. I try to watch more. Like soccer, UFC. People tell me about that stuff, so I can just listen. Like I know like what's hot, what's going on. I know the news. You always should know the news of every single sport. You have to.
But you have your areas of expertise.
I have my areas of expertise. Like somebody will call me to be on their podcast to talk about this. I like the Premier League. They're not going to call me to be on their podcast talking about the Premier League and the Chelsea purchase. Like no one's going to call me for that. I know what it is. And I know about it. Like I'm not going to be ignorant, but I can't, like, I'm not an expert. I couldn't talk 20 minutes about it. So you also have to know which newsworthy. That's important too. It's something I've learned the last like 6 months. Like what is newsworthy? Like it's, that's important, I think.
I'm over here taking notes, man. I don't know if you know. I'm like, man, this is some good. This guy's dropping some gems on us, you guys. So I'll be taking notes. What is newsworthy? Okay. So, all right, now, do you feel like now that you've become more ingrained in journalism, do you think that that's made the podcast, in turn, made the podcast even better?
Oh yeah. I know we can get into that later, but like I have. Well, first, I think I have a million ideas for the podcast that we just haven't even implemented yet. Like I'm definitely an idea guy. It's just timing and graphics and this and that. But like for sure, like for one, I study other people's podcasts. Like I listen to a lot of people. I know how to make the podcast blow. I think I know how it should blow up and like what it takes. I just need it's just like the time. You don't have the funding. You don't have maybe the editing software. Like it's a lot behind a podcast. So, but I think it definitely has taught me like what it takes to have a good one. Like I know why. Like when I see engagement on posts, usually I know why this didn't do as well as the other one. Like I didn't promote it long enough, or we didn't do it under enough posts. I didn't send it to enough people. So like you start to learn like a lot of different things, and it's also like the audio versus video podcast. People don't understand. I mean, it's the same thing, but it's different at the same time.
It's different. It's a different beast.
Because the video, people don't want to hear an hour usually, unless you're just that famous. Like
no, they want to see you.
Yeah, so that's like it's tough. So you have to learn that too. But I think being a journalist has helped the podcast. Just for me, just like because for one, a podcast is more free. Like I don't necessarily like write a lot of stuff I say. Like I might write down like bullet points or a take here or there. Overall, I'm just talking. With like journalism, you have to like if I'm on TV, like you're not hearing me freelance anything. Like you might look like
because you got to prep for it. Yeah.
Like anytime I post like some of my Instagram, like me doing like a story I did, everything was written and edited multiple times before you even saw it.
So let me ask you this: when you watch, because obviously you now having acquired, you understand what to look for. Can you tell when people are on live television freelancing? You're like, man, this guy's freelancing.
Oh yeah, I can also tell when people are like not actually live. Like I can always tell look live now. Like always know. Most of the time you see people. A lot of the time it's a look live. Look live is when it looks live,
pre-recorded.
Recorded. A lot of lifestyle shows do that. I can always tell. you could just tell. I don't know, different tones of voice, actions. It's easy. Like, and then there's different types of shows. Like First Take is like a debate show, so Undisputed debate. But then Sports Center is like a news anchored show. It's just sports. Literally, you turn on your local NBC, you turn on Sports Center. It's the same format of show. It just one is just completely about sports, and one is most likely like 80% news. Well, that's one thing I realized too that I didn't understand before I was a journalist. Like, what is a news show? Like, how does it run? Like the hours, the blocks. Like you learn all that. So, because one thing I can say, I've done print and I'm video, so I see both sides. Like right now, I've applied to both jobs, so I was like, who's gonna, I wasn't sure which route I wanted to take it first, but so I think I can do both. So you see, like I say, sometimes I read, sometimes I watch the news. Like there's different ways to receive your news too. So.
Okay, so what's your favorite show? What is your favorite show to if you were to pick one, your favorite show to watch?
My favorite sports show is definitely The Herd. Probably The Herd, Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, and I feel like we just can't. Even though Colin pisses me off, I just can't get away from it.
Yeah. He just says a lot of dumb stuff, but like to have your own show with no one. I mean, Joy's there. She's amazing. Like I've seen her before and everything. She's a great person.
Yeah.
But like she's like the host. He's basically like doing all that with no partner, like no debate partner. Like he's basically talking to himself.
Right.
For 3 hours. Like that's insane. Like it's really insane. Like the amount of prep he does, he probably doesn't sleep much. Like it's why he one thing I can say about Cowher, he does nothing else but The Herd. So for him, Loki, like that's good. Like Stephen A. Smith, we see him. I tweeted like he was on First Take in the morning. He does Stephen A. Smith's World. He might be on Get Up in the morning, and he did the NBA Finals. And then he was a reporter on the sideline when it was over. That's a different level of grind. Some reporters and some analysts do. So like I get it. At least with Cowher, he has his own show. He puts a lot of work into it, but like it's kind of all he does. So like he gives you a lot in that one show. He probably gives you like, I know Stephen A. Smith said he gives like over 10,000 takes a year. It's more than that probably. But like Cowher probably gives you like around 10,000 takes a year. That's not easy. People think it's easy.
No, that's not easy.
Accountable every take. So it's like if you say something dumb, it will follow you because he said a lot of dumb stuff and it follows him. So,
but you know what? He's unapologetic, and I respect that.
He admits to being wrong, which is something I also appreciate. Also appreciated him but he always brings on good guests. He always could be like funny, but not like goofy. Like it's a difference. Like so, I respect it. I like the way his show is formatted. I think it's replicable.
Wow. So it obviously, well, you have a co-host currently with the M&R show, but
yes, sir.
Man, I think anything, and obviously you can tell by now, this is my own show. But I have, rooted in sports as well. So, but I think it's always good to at a time be able to carry a show on your own, or have your monologues and things of that nature. But obviously the human to human interaction is much needed as well.
Yeah, it's easier too, but it also can make you lazy because you don't have to prep as much when you're with someone. When you're by yourself, if I do a 45-minute 45-minute podcast by myself, like I can't just be talking. Like I'm gonna run out of words. I need water. Like there's no breaks. Like you have to just talk. Everything has to be prepped. Like that's not right. A lot of my stuff because you have to know. Okay, I'm hitting this. I'm hitting this. I'm hitting this. So that's the important part. That's the difference. I think makes it a little easier when you're with a debate partner because you can kind of just go off of what they say. You need one take. That person needs one take. And I can debate your takes for 20 minutes, literally, if you wanted to. I see like on the Undisputed, like they literally give like one take, and they're arguing about both of their takes for 20 minutes. Like you can do that.
There's not much prep needed for that. They got the little they got
to argue back and stuff like that.
But they got the little paper.
Literally.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I get what you're saying because I think I can say we've been doing a lot more shorter episodes in 2022. We don't want to kill these people. They may be on the drive to work or something like that. So we've been doing some shorter episodes, but definitely earlier on in the Breakroom Breakdown, and we'll get back a little bit to it. But I'm covering 2 and 3 news topics, and I had to literally write my script, be well prepared, practice 10 times. It was a lot, so the process, I think I'm becoming. Hearing you say it makes me feel good. I'm like, man, Ken, you're doing okay in the preparation process. You're not so bad.
Yeah, prep is crazy. That's the hard part.
But what they say, you got to fall in love with the process, right?
Yep, exactly.
So speaking of the process, talk to us about the M&R show. I've mentioned it a million times now since we've been on. Tell us about the M&R show and where it's headed.
Yeah, so the M&R show, we usually try to post twice a week on our YouTube. we're upgrading the show in the next like month. We're trying to add some more shows to like our overall M&R show. So like that's gonna, I think, help us grow like a different following. We'll be able to do like more hyper local-ish stuff, like specific team, specific player episodes, different type of breakdowns. Everyone knows I'm against running backs. That'll probably be in there somewhere. But yeah, so
let me know. Let me know about that one. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so different stuff like that. Like, so I'm really excited about that too. But right now with the M&R show, we try to post twice a week. That's our goal. Me and Malcolm are in different places. That's my co-host. His name is Malcolm Napier. He's from Virginia Beach. Sounds close because you think DMV, but overall it's like 5 hours away. And DC, that's very far. 45 minutes is far to a DC person. Like, it's very far. We don't drive
because they're so used to everything being within a general vicinity.
Yeah, I didn't get my learners like I was like 18. Like, it's just, you just don't do that. So it's just like, so that's very far. So we don't see each other often. Like, I haven't seen Malcolm in like a year in person, maybe more. But we talk a lot, like FaceTime, Zoom, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and we have an Apple and a Spotify as well. We've taken a break on that until the new shows come out, and then we'll put those shows specifically on Apple and Spotify to grow the audience more as well. But yeah, like the prep of the show and stuff like that, that's like I'm not gonna say it's harder because, again, I told you about having two people, you can get lazy. But usually Malcolm is like edits our stuff. We don't have like a tough editing thing. Like, regardless, it takes time. Everything takes time. He edits and he uploads. Usually I come up with like our topics. So once I come up with our topics, then we'll like prep for them. Like, we do our separate prep though. Like, I have no idea what he's gonna say coming in, which is good, I think.
No, I think that's absolutely great, man. And you guys are splitting and sharing the responsibility. And I'll say this, like I said, look, my producer Ahmad, look, he's his co-host is editing. So he's getting free editing service. I have a producer. He's great though. Love him to death. Right. But no, you're good. You're saving money.
Yeah. I get it. It costs money for everything, especially when you're not blown up yet. Like, we have 171 subscribers. Like, we're just building on that, like trying to build a fan base genuinely. It's like, you don't make any money for YouTube until you really get to like I know people that have like 20K and they say you're still really not making that much money. So like, you really gotta like start like grinding.
You gotta get in the mud. Yeah.
So it's so a lot of time just doing something you love. I think luckily for me, it costs on my life. Like, I'm trying to work for publications and networks that like do their own podcast. So like, I think everything I do for me personally is like helped me in the career, because everything I do is kind of like journalism based, kind of.
Right.
So that's it's helped. And then with the prep, going back really quickly, like so like usually me and Malcolm prepping our own. Like, I send a topic, like, oh, how does it sound? He's like, oh yeah, it's cool. Or he might say like, let's add this. So we'll add that. We try not to make it too long. We have a lot of guests. We have two people that we like on like our team, Lamont or just Mont. Mont runs our Instagram for the most part.
That's good.
Just like our posts and stuff like that. I still run the Twitter. And then we have G, who's like our basketball analyst. Like, if we went anything deep basketball, we bring him on. He's the analytical guy. He knows all the stats. He knows he watches the game 2 times, and he's that guy. So we bring him on for that type of. He's like our Tim Legler to the show.
Oh, okay.
We bring them on for that type of angle. So they both have been really helpful too. And it's why, it's with this new pivot over, we see everybody's doing the pivot and everything. I think we can add some special to that. Yeah.
That's good. It sounds like you have a good nucleus, a good foundation of people on your team and stuff like that. So no, that's good. That's I think that the M&R show, I'm excited to see because I already like it. I'm excited to see what it transforms into from here on out. Now let me ask you this: what other projects are there any other projects that we need to be looking out for coming from you guys?
From the M&R show? From the
M&R show, or
we're supposed to be having like 2 to possibly 3 new shows coming out, and the names I guess aren't released yet, or I don't think we have all them scheduled yet. But we're gonna definitely upgrade the brand to add some more stuff that we're trying to do. Again, we're trying to just raise the audience, raise the number of voices. We're trying to like really have like a post on the YouTube, Apple, and Spotify like dang near every day, like besides the weekend. Like Monday through Friday, we're like, it should be something on it. If we have 3 shows, it should probably be almost an episode a day on there. So that's the goal. Yeah, I'm excited, especially when football season comes on. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan. I'll probably do some Cowboys stuff. There's never not a day I couldn't do an episode if I really wanted to, especially if we're doing like 20-minute episodes. Like, I can do that every single day if I wanted to for the Cowboys. And hopefully I might, we'll see. If God willing, I'd be writing for the Cowboys too. So I'd have limited content because now I know the inside too. Like, I know the inside of a lot of teams, and sadly, I don't have an insider for Dallas. So like I need to be my own insider. So I would love to be able to do some stuff with that. I'm a Wizards fan, sadly, but by choice. It's always a lot of content. NBA drafts coming up. I'm excited to cover that. I'm a draft geek for football and basketball. So today, I was doing that today. I was watching Keegan Murray, the small forward coming out. Literally just watching what people say about him, reading about him, watching them. Yeah, Chet Holmgren. I knew about him since high school, so I don't have really about him, quote unquote. Because I've known Chet since he was 16. Like, he's been him and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know about Jabari Smith until this year coming in. But like Jaden Ivey, you heard some stuff about, like some other players. Like, you knew they were going to be kind of a guy. Even Bon Carroll from Duke. Like, I knew about him since he was in high school. Like, so yeah. Wow.
So yeah, trust me. You mentioned draft, right? I'm all about the draft too. Obviously, NFL draft. Go crazy. All right. How can the fans reach you?
Yeah. So on Instagram and Twitter on the M&R show, it's at MALC Malk and RON Ron show. So at Malk and Ron show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We've been slacking on TikTok, but this summer I promise to get that started up again.
So you guys gonna see him doing the dances?
That's my dying wish, to get the TikTok started again. Start doing some more content. Because TikTok is also just good for practicing too.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
You do 3 minutes, just a 3-minute take on TikTok, bro. It's free. Like, no one cares. I don't care if nobody watches it. You literally made yourself better. So I need to just do that for me, to be honest. And then on my personal page, you can follow me at RON Harrod HARROD JR. So Ron Harrod Jr. on Instagram and Twitter. Definitely trying to build those handles up, especially since I realized that as a journalist, like, people like literally come to your social media for like information. So
it's your business card. It's the modern day business card.
Yeah. So like literally like that's been like, man, I've met so many people from Twitter, bro, like, and Instagram. Like, I mean, we met on Instagram. Like, literally, I meet I've been on some podcasts and stuff. Some people, I've even got invited some people's like radio. Like, it's crazy what you meet on social media. Like, big stations. Like, I know, like, they're like, oh, like, you're not there yet, but like, we're watching you. They've reached out. Like, crazy with social media, the power it has. So I definitely would also, going back to the high school students, I will make sure my brand is good. Like, delete those old tweets, man. I don't care what you said. If it's deleted, no one knows.
Wow.
Deleted, no one knows if it's deleted, man. So we see Chris Haynes got caught like last week doing he had like some homophobic tweets, some women tweets. I'm like, Chris, you're too famous for this. Like
you gotta have somebody scrub that thing, huh?
Literally, my friends. Well, I guess mine wasn't that. Well, no, it was pretty bad. I mean, it was 2011. In 2011, I was 11, like, or 12. It depends what month it was. Like, I was born in 99. So basically, whatever year it is, I'm that age. So it means I was like 11, 12 with Twitter. Like, it was no way I was going to be not ignorant. Like, you're ignorant at age. Yeah. I probably was talking about just the dumbest stuff. And our parents didn't have social media back then. So you could do whatever you wanted and no one would see. So hopefully all that's gone. I think I scrubbed it enough. I would recommend that too, for sure. Clean your Instagram too. Don't post no liquor on there. Well, I mean, yeah, I know people post liquor on their Instagram. I say this because every job does not care about that. Going to be on TV, yes, they care.
And if you do, make sure it's a how can I say, it's a clean looking picture and it's like Johnny Walker Platinum or something. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
It doesn't look like a party because like you don't want to be Paul Pierce. Like, yeah, I don't care how big you get, you look like Paul Pierce on there, like a legend. It was a legendary video, but man.
Hey, look! Don't have the bottle of Douce.
Yeah,
that's gonna be no.
At least in a cup, there could be anything in a cup. It could be tea,
right? Well, and I'm gonna tell you this, that's big because episode 24, I talked about sports betting. I had my good friend,
Yeah, I
Mr.
saw it.
VJ Vernon, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about an opportunity that he missed out on. Well, he took it more as a learning lesson because he didn't scrub his Twitter. He didn't scrub his social media, and something was found, and that's why he didn't get the opportunity at that place. So yeah, it's funny you bring it up. It's just all
every day of that. I'm like, bro, God, please.
Well,
if I get pinged for something like, yeah, how old were you when you made this post? I'm like, I was like 14. Like, oh yeah, like, but it's like, if I don't know, if I get someone that was like 18 or above, I 100% get it. Anything below that, it's like, come on, bro. I was literally definition by law, a child. So it's like, I just pray to God that I never get pinged for something like that. That sucks for him. Like, I mean, everything's a learning experience in life, but that sucks, man. I get it.
Wow, and it's crazy because maybe not even just in the media journalism world. Like we're seeing actors and entertainers. I mean, I remember Kevin Hart, he couldn't do the award show because of a tweet years ago, right? So, man, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, scary, very scary. Right. That's a culture is for real.
and once it hits the web, hey, even to be honest, even if it's scrubbed, it's somewhere floating out there in cyberspace, right? So, yeah. But scary hours. But this is the second time I've heard it. So scrub social media.
Yeah.
I was in the Navy, right? So I served like 8 years in the military. So man, I got some terrible post on Facebook and
some toxic masculine stuff.
oh, absolutely atrocious. But guess what? We're growing. This is a process.
Yeah, I get it.
Right?
I get it.
We're not Stephen A. Smith yet.
No.
But hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a very fun, educational, informative. Because I'm gonna tell you this myself. I plan on finish undergrad, plan on going back to school and knocking some things out and jumping into a good journalism program. So this was good information for me as well.
Yeah, I can give you some recs if you want me for high schools. I now that I'm in journalism, I can tell you the good schools to apply to. University of Missouri, Mizzou, one of the best schools, one of the best schools of journalism for undergrad and grad school. Syracuse. Those programs are really good. What's Stanford, USC, West Coast.
Any HBCUs?
I've heard my friend went to Howard, and she's the best journalist I've ever seen. So I just have to assume they're good. Like Howard seemed like every
Howard University,
and I'm a legacy there. Well, I didn't go, but my grandma, aunt, my family went to Howard. So I say Howard's always a good choice. Spelman is always a good choice. A lot of people in my program.
They let men at Spelman now?
No, but for who never knows listening.
Right. Right.
So I mean, I'm assuming that Spelman has it. I just assume Morehouse has it as well. Like I assume, or Clark Atlanta, they're all kind of Georgia State. It's close, but so yeah, I would look at those for sure.
Oh, most definitely, man. Well, I'll definitely look into those, and we'll obviously connect some more. I'm sure you'll make your trip. First of all, he's on a tour right now. I guess he's on all these other podcasts. Right? I had to have him on my other podcast, right? Rooted in Sports, and when we got a little banter going, a little debating and things of that nature. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was a fire episode. Yeah,
it was. So it was great to see the more calm, professional side of Mr. Ronald Harrod Jr.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely the calm news tone guy. Then sports is like a different. It's like a flip switch. Like it's a different person.
Well, you gotta. There's people that's crying. You gotta show them both sides, right?
Yeah,
so it's good. You gotta be multifaceted, right? Because there's a chance you may get an opportunity to show. They're gonna be like, we don't want that Ronald. We want that Ronald.
Yeah, you never know. So you got to be everybody or whoever,
Yeah, well, most definitely, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to definitely keep us updated with your journey with some of the opportunities coming your way. We're already following the M&R show. Yeah, man. I'm definitely looking forward to tapping in and working with you in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Great show, and definitely thanks for having me on.
Most definitely, man. Have a blessed day. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Whew. So you guys just heard from Mr. Ronald Harrod Jr., right? Young professional, right? Just got his master's degree from Columbia University, a prestigious university in journalism. I don't know about you guys. I learned a lot, right? I'm looking at this, he's dropping gems here. He's talking about reading every morning, every night, just to keep himself fresh, keep the information on his mind. He said to become engulfed in your craft, and that's whatever you do, whether it's journalism, whether you're playing a sport, whether it's acting, right? You gotta really be addicted and become engulfed to your craft. Don't be Devin from Drumline, who didn't know how to read music, right? So yeah, they want to be that. So, but man, this is just a lot of great information. I hope you guys really took notes, and for those of you guys, even like myself, that's looking at pursuing and getting a journalism degree or looking for a good program. I hope you really paid attention to some of the things that he said, and obviously it's a different beast, it's a different profession, but for those of us that love writing, for those of us that love news, and damn sure for those of us that love sports, there's a place for us in that field, in that wheelhouse. So yeah. But if you guys enjoyed the show, please subscribe. We're on all platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify. And if you ever want to chat with me and the Rooted in Sports clan, Rooted in Sports community, we're on Twitter Spaces every Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right. And then don't be afraid to take this show and share it with your casual friends that don't really watch sports or just want to learn. They're new to it. Just introduce this to them. We can bring them in the fold, and they can definitely join our community. But as always, you guys, it was a blessing. It was fun. And I kept it short. It's not no 100, it's not no 1 hour and 20, 30-minute episode. I kept it short for you guys. So maybe you're at your final destination, or maybe you can finish the last 10 minutes when you get off of work. Who knows? I'll either, whatever happens, whatever you guys choose to do, I appreciate having you guys on and appreciate having you guys listen and support the podcast. But have a blessed evening, have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.